Hey, Merry Christmas from Phoenix, Arizona. It is or I should say it was earlier today, up in the 70s throughout most of the day, and now it's kind of dropped down to the 50s as it usually does at night here. But still, it's a lot warmer than Midwestern Christmases that I'm used to. I visited my parents a few weeks back in Fayetteville, Arkansas, which is technically in the South, but it's the northwest corner of the South, so it's a lot more Midwestern in its weather. And it was quite a bit colder, and I'm kind of enjoying being able to wear shorts and short sleeves again and not having to worry about snow blizzards and stuff like that. So now moving on to the main topic of the video. Um, this is just going to be a kind of a random rant video. It may seem a little strange to some, but you might understand it more as I get into it a little bit more. This is going to be kind of a general, I guess, kind of explanation on why I don't really make a lot of comments on internet threads anymore, either on YouTube or social media or Facebook or you name it. Um, I used to. Long before I had my YouTube channel, I've always, been on the internet a lot, and I've always spent a lot of time on, probably more time than I should have, perusing different comment section and, whatever site it was, even back in the days of MySpace and Facebook and, YouTube, and now increasingly with new sites like TikTok or, Twitch, though I'm never on Twitch. But anyways, one thing I've learned over the years is that you really do have to limit how much you make comments on YouTube or on any social media or internet site, because there can be some very unintended consequences that come with doing comments too often. And I know it's ironic that I'm making something like this in a YouTube video, and of course that's encouraging people to comment on this video, which I'm not discouraging people from doing. But I mean, my internet comments section is quite a bit more tame than most others. There's just not that many people that comment there, period. And when they do, it's usually just nothing super, zesty, for lack of a better word. But this is just, and I don't comment even very often on people who talk on my own, leave comments on my own videos. I don't respond very often. And again, that's kind of just more part of the general policy that I've been kind of, straying away more from internet comments. And the reason is back at the height of COVID, like a lot of people, I was locked in a lot more and isolated from people a lot more. And I started commenting like a lot on different YouTube videos and different social media sites. And after a while, it started to have kind of a negative effect on me because, I mean, anybody, of course, who's been on the internet or social media knows internet comments can be overwhelmingly stupid or negative or both. And a little bit of it's not bad, you get to, see just a little bit of people's opinions on things. Sometimes you get some very funny comments on things, but also there's a lot of hateful bile, and stuff that if you read too much of it, it really can have a bad psychological effect on you. For me personally, kind of the breaking point was at this one point in 2020 when I made a foolish mistake and I commented on it was a like psychology. The channel's called Psychology in Seattle. It was like a reality TV show video called 90 Day Fiance, and Dr. Kirk Honda had been doing an analysis of it. And it was not where you would expect a really negative, hate-filled internet, discussion. But this turned into like one of the worst in the history of his channel. So bad that he threatened to disband it if he saw more conversations like that. And I had made a fairly dumb mistake of getting into a little bit of a debate with some of the people who were making all the hate in that comment section, and a couple of them, and I know this is stupid, but I actually even disclosed like some personal details about my life when I was debating and arguing with a few people on this. Again, I knew even at the time that was a little stupid, but I figured, I in general kind of trusted that channel and didn't think it would be that bad. But it backfired on me really bad because I mean these people were some of the most aggressive, just awful people I have ever met, even on my time in the internet. And I think what it was is because it's the type of crowd that not only comments on internet, on the internet section, YouTube comment section, but this was reality TV people as well who just obsess over Twitter like unhealthy degree. And those kind of people, it's okay if you like reality TV, but there's a certain kind of people that take it way too seriously, you know. And the comments on that people said to me on this really bothered me, because it was, let's just put it this way, I was comparing one thing in my own life to something that was going on in that video. And I knew, even at the time, I knew when I was doing it, it'd be stupid and I might get a few comments, but I didn't think much of it. But I got like a dozen or so that were just the most hateful, bile-filled and calculating things ever. Like people were specifically trying to unearth things that I said, and you could tell they were trying to maximize the damage they could to see what would affect me. And it kind of did. And to be honest with you, I didn't take it lying down. And in some ways, in that particular instance, I'm glad that I didn't, because in general, in that kind of situation, the best thing to do is just stay out of it. But in this case, I was already in too deep. So I just kind of threw hate with hate and bile with bile. And it got pretty ugly. But after that, I didn't fully learn my lesson as much as I should have, which is, just in general to maybe stay more out of both YouTube and internet comments in general. And I didn't ever get into a discussion quite that ugly again, but I continued, debating and arguing and probably discussing more things than I should have on the internet after that. And eventually that, combined with some of the isolation of 2020 and 2021 and COVID and all that, led me to have a little bit of anger management issues for a while. So much so that for that, in addition to other reasons, I even temporarily sought a therapist. And ironically, I didn't fully start to pull out of some of those anger issues until late 2023. And really what did it more than anything was that I had just started a job with Spectrum where it was a call center job where I was just getting blasted on a daily basis by people in ways that I've never talked to in my life other than like the internet comment section. And it ended up being too much for me, like, to even think of going into the internet comments and talking to people, because the negativity I had from my day-to-day job every day was just so much that I couldn't endure any additional, grief or any additional, blowback. But, it actually kind of had a hugely positive effect in that sense, then, that I started noticing the anger issues were going away. It started kind of causing me to be a little bit more centered in that regard of my life. And it's kind of a way I wish it didn't have to happen, because that job with Spectrum was pretty miserable. And it was basically just because I was not too far from my breaking point, so I couldn't push myself a lot further in that regard. But it was a bad thing that resulted in a good thing. But the lesson I took away from the overall experience is, for the most part, you have to kind of limit the amount of time you spend talking with people on the internet. And not just like in comment section threads, I mean just in general with people on the internet. I mean, I've met some awesome people on the internet over the years, but the thing is I've also met some pretty awful people over the years, like people that are the worst of the worst, And it almost always was not like, and it wasn't like in my actual videos here. I mean, I really mean this. I'm not just saying this to patronize the people who watch my videos. I can't say that any comment I've read here has ever really bothered me on a major level. And I appreciate that people take the time to watch the videos, so it doesn't really unearth me if they say a negative comment. I'm talking more like random places on the internet where I've had discussions about stuff that wasn't even supposed to be really about me or anything personal, but people turned it into horrendously negative and personal things, like, I don't know, one time, like, one guy's channel I used to comment on a little bit, he was an atheist like myself, and he talked about Nietzsche a fair amount like myself. So in the beginning, we had some decent discussions, but he started delving into some really dicey territory, making really hateful videos towards transgenders. And at one point he had made, a video that he didn't mean it to come off racist, but it was a really stupid video that he shouldn't have made, because he should have known when he made it that it would have come off racist. I'm not going to explain all of what I mean by that, but it's just, he started doing a lot of weird stuff, and I kind of was having some second thoughts about talking with him. And then I debated one of his videos that he made, the transgender hate one, and that he, it was unnecessary, basically, and that he was really, he kept saying he wasn't meaning it as transgender hate, but he was basically saying that all transgenders are mentally ill people, which is obviously a very, very disrespectful thing to say, but, and he was just absolutely livid in his response back in the comments. I mean, I never really attacked him personally a whole lot throughout it, but he immediately started throwing out personal insults towards me. that were like saying like I had not lived any days in this world. I had no I'd had such a nice, sterile, easy life that I could never appreciate, the wisdom his life experiences had given him or whatever. And, and he started making fun of my lack of success with dating and, I mean, stuff that, was not even remotely related to what we were talking about. And this was someone who was an actual YouTube creator, and it was pretty disgusting, to be honest. And I'd already kind of lost interest in him at that point anyways. But my point is that, like, and that was like a YouTube creator. I mean, not even as bad as a lot of just the random channels you'll find on the internet or, social media. I mean, you're going to encounter some of the most awful people imaginable on the internet is one thing I've learned over the years. And for the most part, you kind of have to avoid 90% of interactions on, the comment section, because it really can start to unearth you, especially if you don't have a lot of other contacts in your life and the only contacts you're seeing are the really, really, really negative ones, in the comment section on people who are throwing out bile at each other. I mean, in some ways, that's even the same thing I currently have to deal with my current job, being in a call center. I mean, you almost have to be on good terms with your coworkers at a job like that, because you do have to endure enough hate throughout the day from the customers that you really just don't have it in you to be that way towards your coworkers unless you're just a profusely aggressive and negative person. And most people, including myself, can't do that. So what point of the whole video that I'm just trying to make on this is, just talking about my own experience and hoping others can also learn from it as well and relate it to their own lives. And that is, in a nutshell, just avoid the amount of time that you spend interacting with people on the internet, unless they're people that you know very well and are, friends with or very close with. I mean, random people on the internet is what I'm mostly referring to. You should be very careful about how many interactions you have with them, because there are some people out there that the only thing they're looking to do is just lay into you personally. They're not looking to debate you on points. They're not looking to just be a little bit snarky and a little bit, I don't know, just a little bit, dicey in their comments. They are looking to specifically try to wear you down as a person when they go into the comment section. And that's a very hard lesson I've kind of had to learn over the years as to why I kind of have to be careful about getting too involved in the comment section. And I think it's something that anyone, who's spends any significant amount of time on the internet needs to learn at some point, that it's literally for your own psychological health. Even if you think you can handle it, at some point you have to set very strict limits, I think, to yourself on how much you can avoid, how much you should interact with random people on the internet. Because it'll be one of two things, like I said, it'll be either completely hate-filled bile you'll run across. 50% of it will be that. The other 50% will be comments that are just maybe actually a little bit well-intentioned, but are just so incredibly stupid that it makes you question that if humanity deserves to live. And I'm not joking. I know that sounds mean, but I mean, the comments will be just, I don't know, things like, okay, just one example. I remember thinking, like, with the recent election, with Alan Lichtman's predictions, stuff like that, there were so many people that didn't even know what Alan Lichtman's model was. They didn't know his past prediction history or anything, but they just would see some random clip of somebody saying, oh, this guy's an expert, he's predicted everything right, yeah. And then they'd go on these big rants on the comment section about how, he was going to be right again, and how, without even knowing why they were backing him. And they would, trash anybody that said anything different, like people like me. And I, again, am on a little bit of bragging, here, but I was right. Alan Lichtman was wrong, about the election. But I mean, the people were just such mindless sheep in the comments on this that it just disgusted me, because it's not that they had a different opinion than me, or that I respect Alan Lichtman's opinion, but they didn't even know why. They just were saying he's an expert, so I can just hide behind his opinion without having even the slightest ounce of understanding as to why he's predicting it this way. And they would just, say it with such utmost ridiculous, stupid confidence and condescension and arrogance that it just disgusted me, almost as much as Alan Lichtman himself. But if you don't know who Alan Lichtman is, or to see, his pre-election videos, then you won't understand what I'm talking about. But point just being, we all have to know our limits in this world, our limits at work, our limits in love and relationships, and our limits in little things, like just, what we put in the internet comment section. And I have learned over the years, a little bit about where my limits are. in that regard after some periods of isolation where I spent too much time, debating and arguing with people in the comment section. And I hope, it's just a lesson that other people can relate to. I know this is kind of weird saying if you want to comment on this video, that you can, and feel free to, and I encourage you to. When I made a video explicitly about not leaving comments in the internet, but I don't know, I usually don't delete people's comments, but as a one-time policy, I promise that if anything gets overly dicey in this comment section, since that's the whole point of this video, I'll delete anything that's super negative. I don't normally bother interfering with the comments, but just for, this, I don't know, the sake of, since that's ironically what this video is about, But, like I said, in general, it's just a thing I've learned in life, and I hope the others can learn from it as well and, relate their experiences to me. So, thanks for watching. And, oh, one last thing, as a thank you for watching this full video. As boring and as low production value as is, I have a little treat coming in about a week or two. Something for those who are incels that watch my channel and anyone else that has an interest in that topic. I will be making a visit up to Nevada on the 31st, and of course, you all know what is legal in Nevada, which is not legal anywhere else, and that is brothels. We'll just be saying I'm planning a little trip to maybe break a losing streak that I've had going for 34 years now. And I think you kind of know what I mean by that. But I won't go into all the details because I'll have a lot more juicy and fun information to relay on that in about a week or so. And I'm sure it'll be probably one of my more entertaining videos, which isn't saying much since most of my videos suck, I know. But I really hope, it'll be a fun story and something that I can post in the comments. Hopefully it's not going to be a horror story. I know some people that have done things like this and it turns into a horror story, but we'll see in a week or so, and hopefully, it'll be a fun video. So thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye.